Hello and welcome to Libracadeum Lounge. This is episode 3 of our Libracadeum podcast, and I actually have a confession to make. I didn't mention this in the ham radio episode, but as soon as episode 1 aired, our PO box was filled with requests. So these next few episodes are gonna be fun because we just got a bunch of guest stars. But first, I am brought back with my friend Philip, who will be here forever. How are you doing, Philip?
I'm here forever, William.
Oh no. Oh no. And then today we have a special guest who is not a ham radio, and I didn't steal him from the garbage. He came here of his own volition. We have TheMightyLeeOh. Hello.
They actually dragged me in off the street. They did the whole Cave Johnson approach of paying me $50 cash.
What? That was
Gonna pay you $100 if you didn't say
that. You didn't have to.
You didn't tell me that.
I mean, we didn't make you file like a freaking what is the paper called?
Contract?
Yeah.
No, not I guess a contract. It's the do not speak thing.
A non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah. We didn't make you sign a non-disclosure agreement, but you didn't have to be like, yeah, I got paid $20.
I actually didn't get paid at all. I shouldn't be, but I'm doing this of my own volition.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hello Lee. I'm glad to have you here. Whomst are you, and how did you get here?
Good question. I let the days go by.
He let the water hold him down. Oh no.
Demonetized.
Demonetized.
Oh, I mean, technically that's a cover, so it's transformative enough that yada yada yada.
And it
also is about 3 seconds.
Yeah, worse things than that, like more obscure things than that have gotten demonetized. Like nothing is safe.
Hence why we ask for Patreon money here, and not exactly YouTube ad fund money. Which honestly feels like more shilling than it needs to be, but regardless. Lee, who are you as a person, I should say? Where did you come from?
Don't get all existential on me.
Take us back to the beginning.
No.
Okay. All right. Well. Anyway, I'll do it. I'll do this then. Lee is a friend from our Libracadeum server, and he wanted to join in, so we let him in. Like I said, there's gonna be a few guest stars for these next few episodes, but Lee is one of our current administrators. He's one of the higher ups that kind of hangs around a lot, and he does a lot of the heavy lifting, and by heavy lifting, hangs out a lot. So that's who he is. He's just started streaming and such, and he plays a lot of Monster Hunter. So if you like Monster Hunter and a lot of blunt jokes, I should say, then you'll like him.
A lot of what jokes?
Blunt.
Oh.
Yeah, like I'm gonna hit you with this joke, and it's gonna be very blunt.
You do have dry humor.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
We need some moisture.
I wish I had known.
Was that blunt?
Yes, William.
What's the first? Who wants to go with their first question?
Anybody but Philip, because he doesn't have any questions. Whoops.
All right.
What? You could have just saved them from last time.
I don't know where they are.
Oh my god.
This is kind of a two-part question.
Okay.
Why is there so much Rule 34? And specifically, why does the Sonic community seem to have it for every fucking fetish?
I think we're going to skip this question.
I'm not skipping this question. I know the answer.
God damn it.
See, I thought you were going to go earlier. We got to chat about this question, and I'm like, you can't specifically keep talking about these questions because.
Oh yeah. Also, Isabel, why is there so much Rule 34 of Isabel?
Well,
I can handle this Sonic
I want to point out real quick that when a game comes out, people love to draw art of the character, and so people are going to draw Rule 34 of the character as well. That's just what happens.
And then for the Sonic the Hedgehog one, I think it's because it's like a gateway franchise. Like, there's not enough Mario stuff because kids don't find Mario cool, but because Sonic is advertised as the cool thing.
I don't know. When I was 7, I thought Mario was way cooler than a blue hedgehog who spins really fast.
Yeah. I mean, but the marketing specifically for Sonic is that he's marketed as the cool one. So, like, when you're a kid and you find that interesting and you have an internet connection and you're weird, you do a lot of things like snooping around. So a lot of the entryway kids are experiencing their sexuality, like, in their preteens and shit. And they're experimenting it with the media they like a lot. So then a whole bunch of weird stuff occurs, like inflation and pregnant stuff. So that's what happens. And that is what I'm assuming happens.
Though I wish it didn't.
But I wish it did. It's either that or it happens to, like, what, the Alvin and the Chipmunks, and it becomes way worse.
Oh, God.
Yeah, see? Now you have to figure out who's going to take the bullet for all these people developing their sexualities.
See, the worst thing about that is I'm pretty sure it was on DeviantArt the other day, and I stumbled across that.
I mean, it's kind of like seeing a hobo.
Did it make you squeal?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
It was an Alvin and the Chipmunks joke.
Oh, no.
Well, maybe it should have been funny.
That's Lee's dry humor, everybody. I hope you like it, because you're going to hear it for the next hour and a half.
I need water, please. So, Lee, did you want to... Oh, yeah, so... We already answered the Isabel part. Okay, we got that question done. Okay, Philip. I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna throw my question in the ring, and I'm gonna let you throw in a really kooky question after mine. I'm gonna give you the time. You guys ready? Y'all ready for this?
Go.
Okay. So I guess we're just getting all the kooky questions out immediately, because my funny question is: are spiders into Vore?
Are all of these questions gonna be about sex?
No.
Well, they are so far.
Voring specifically, I don't know.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, if we're talking about, like, the little definition of the root vor, anything that eats is into it.
So, yes.
Yeah, damn. I guess, yeah.
Also, wouldn't... praying mantises, right? Is it the male praying mantis that bites the female's head off, or is it the other way around?
It's the other way around.
Female bites the male? Okay.
It's really weird and rad.
Also, maybe snakes?
Snakes aren't real.
There's a lot... See, now, here's the thing. I don't think we're ever going to be able to escape R34 hell, but there's a lot of people that do the snake from Jumanji.
Oh, God, I'm pretty sure I stumbled across that yesterday, too.
Yeah, dude, it's weird. People are freaking weird, man.
Alright, anyway.
And you mean the Jungle Book.
Alright, Philip, are you ready to save us from R34 hell? What question do you have for us
today? I'm here to ask you guys a question.
Okay, what's the question?
So, in this age of digital information, I kind of want to keep it somewhat topical. You learn a lot of things, and you learn about a lot of, like, obscure stuff, right? Like, you learn about creepypastas, and you learn about random forums. You learn about R34. You learn about, all kinds of weird stuff.
Yes, gotta get it there.
But what do you think is the most, not weird, not gross, not bad necessarily, but what do you think is the most obscure thing that you found on the internet? Like, you found it, and when you tried to relay it to other people, you had to teach them what it is, or because they just didn't know what it was until you found it.
Well, you're assuming I have a social life, for one, and I'm not sure how to feel about that.
You're talking to me, which means you now have a social life. Congratulations. Answer the question, please.
I'm holding you at gunpoint, Lee, for the love of God.
Oh,
no,
geez.
I can just play his own game as well.
Oh man, this is a hard one because, okay, let's start off with me talking with context, I guess, Because is it us giving knowledge to people, like obscure knowledge, or is it like I was in this fandom and this was so interesting that I have to explain every fine detail knowledge?
I mean, because if you are really interested in something, like if you're really into a fandom, you're going to do that anyway. Like I could do that about music, but that's not because music is super obscure. It's just because I'm super into it. But if you're really super into something that's obscure and like you have to, what I mean is like, okay, I'll give my example. Just to give you guys a good reference. So, have you guys ever been on the actual website for like the SCP Foundation? It's like scpwiki.net or whatever.
Oh, yeah. So, probably my favorite one, if we want to go for obscure stuff, it is the, I believe it's the portrait of George Washington picking his nose while entertaining a gentleman friend.
I can't say I've seen that before, but I want to now.
Well, that's a really good answer because I have to ask you what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, actually.
Alright, well, this is a quick divergence.
No, it answers the question. Sir?
We're gonna get demonetized because Divergent is a copyrighted book.
Sir, what's the answer? What's the lore?
If I can find it.
Pull it up. Oh, okay. I don't think we can pull it up though. Is the problem? This is an auditory experience.
William, you could just post it on the you could just.
I could just
put it in frame in the video for like a little bit when this podcast comes out. You should do that.
Fine. I'll be editing.
You're gonna have to edit it a little bit anyway. I mean, sheesh.
I am gonna have to edit anyway. I'll stop being a child. Okay. Well, most of mine. While Lee is looking up his photo reference, most of mine are just fandom stuff. Like, I scream about SMT a lot, but that wouldn't make another episode, so I could pretty much go over my niche stuff. I played a lot of Roller Coaster Tycoon in my spare time, so a lot of it is figuring out what the trajectory and how to get the coaster going and over the hill. So if I tried to explain to that people, like, here's how the dynamic physics of a roller coaster would work, they'd be like, why the hell do you care so much about roller coasters?
Alright, so,
okay,
the SCP Foundation is already kind of a, obscure thing. Not as obscure as it used to be, but still pretty obscure. But this is one of the joke ones, which is, people don't look for those.
Oh, I love the joke SCPs.
So this is SCP-1797-J. Is a polymorphic picture of former United States President George Washington. Behind him stands an unidentified figure engaging in apparently vigorous sexual intercourse with Washington. George Washington entertaining a gentleman friend while picking his nose. Has been written on the backing with a felt-tipped writing instrument. And then it goes just further and further into related ones. So you have John Adams zanking out a loose tooth while vacuuming. Andrew Jackson trying to tie his shoelaces while melting. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln being kicked in the nuts while changing into corduroy pants. There's gotta be a really good... I can't remember what the really good one was. I'll find it.
How could you forget the classic ghost sign?
That is a great joke SCP, but that is not related to this.
What about the toilet ghost? My favorite is Procrastinati. Can we read Procrastinati? It's very short.
Sure.
Can you just find it really quickly and read it?
Oh. This is good. Calvin Coolidge wiping a booger on a 4-year-old named Ricky while hokey pokeying.
Oh, God.
These all sound like song names.
Donald Trump shuffling a deck of cards while yodeling. And Barack Obama surveying a volcano while failing a math test.
Yeah, they all just sound like song names or
They're Mad
ad
Libs.
Yeah, Mad Libs. They're just Mad Libs. Okay. All right.
Well,
All right.
I'm gonna pull us back into reality for a second. So the reason that I pointed out the SCP Foundation and the SCP Wiki website is because for a while my life was this. I would go to school, I would come home, I'd do my thing. But as long as I had my phone or my iPod or whatever the heck it was that I used to read the website, maybe my 3DS even, because it was around that time, I was on the SCP Wiki website, and I was finding it. I read like as many SCPs as I could, and as many like side stories that were posted on the website until I got bored. And it took me a really long time to realize that all of these SCPs and stories and stuff are all written by different people, and which is weird because they all seem like they belong together. Like it's just this really long catalog of like essentially like creepypasta pseudo science fiction stories, but like it's just a bunch of people collaborating to make it, and like they basically accept whether something should be canon or not in this big fictitious story, and they add a bunch of lore, and so it goes from you reading an SCP and going, what the hell is all of this about, after like watching a YouTube video where like a guy screams or whatever, right? And then eventually you read like 500, and then you read an SCP that references to like another SCP or a character, and you're like, wow, I actually understand that. Like so that was a huge interest of mine. I like stories, especially sci-fi stories, and for whatever reason, the SCP Foundation, it just completely captured my imagination, which is very sad because it is indeed just an obscure wiki page that almost nobody knows about or will care about for a while. But I care about it a lot, and I was very curious if you guys had similar experiences with, I don't know, YouTube channels or forums or games or interests or hobbies or something like that.
Well, I did show you Wambu, and you did not like Wambu.
What's Wambu?
Dude, he's the
chandelier. Oh, yeah, that's right. I mean,
love him.
It's not that he's bad. William tried to show me this 20-minute video of this guy who he like animates this caricature of a chandelier, and he explains his opinions on things, and that's fine because the guy is silly, entertaining. He's right up William's alley, basically. And to be honest, I found him charming. But the issue was that William and I are watching a 20-minute video of a guy who was basically just casually explaining why he liked all the like copy abilities from a certain Kirby game or whatever. And the reason why I had a problem with that is because I wanted to spend time with William, and I felt like I was not doing that. I felt like we were both just watching the same video.
But sometimes you gotta sit down, shut up, and vibe.
I was not vibing. That was the issue.
I love Wambu. He's a funny boy.
I appreciate that, but every time I put an album on for you, half the time you talk over it and turn it down. So I feel like fair is fair.
Oh, all right.
So, William, do you have an obscure taste that you'd like to talk about?
I just did.
What, Wambu?
I just mentioned Wambu.
Is that your obscure taste? Well, explain for the people what Wambu is.
Wambu is a very nice boy who animates. He's like you know how artists, there are these storytime YouTubers, they make their caricature, and they have like 3 or 4 frames of different expressions to swap out every time they talk. Wambu is kind of like that, but he actually animates way more of his character, and it's very expressive, and he's a green chandelier. He also has a very funny voice, and he's really entertaining with how he uses it. It's kind of a playful, kind of a, this is a not so serious situation, I'm a big goofball. It reminds me of kind of like Game Grumps stuff. Like, it's actually kind of goopy. and he does like a lot of Kirby analysis, a lot of lighthearted stuff, as well as like Silent Hill. So I like his palette, so it's great. There's not really much to talk about besides he makes good content, and I just love him. So I'm gonna hand the torch to you, Lee.
Go check out Wambu.
Go look at Wambu, please.
I did kind of just... Oh, yeah, questions. The peanut butter. Does it deserve its space on the throne of foods?
Is that your question?
Well, hold on, wait a minute. What does that mean? Are you asking if it's a food or if it's
No,
like...
does it deserve all the praise does it deserve all the praise it gets?
Okay, I'm a picky eater, so I feel like I don't know how to even like approach this question. Because like it's like the equivalent of, asking somebody that like really loves or really hates pizza. It's like, do you like pineapple on pizza? It's like they're either gonna say, I hate pizza, so I hate pineapple on pizza, or then you have the choice of maybe they'll say yes, maybe they'll say no, but either way they're gonna talk about pizza for an hour. I feel weird about talking about food.
Fair.
Is peanut butter pronounced Jif or Gif?
I've swapped between them.
That's a joke because it's Jiff, so it's actually Jif.
I know, but I swap between them anyway. Because, screw both sides.
Well, I swap between peanut butter.
Like crunchy or natural?
So all of them. Because screw all sides.
Okay. Anyway. So in terms of... Okay, I have to open Discord so the sound effect doesn't kill me. I should have put myself on Do Not Disturb mode, I'm sorry. Anyway, in terms of peanut butter as like a flavor getting so much praise, I'm not sure. There are a lot of people that like Nutella. There are a lot of people that like chocolate with peanut butter. And I'm not sure. Peanut butter is like a nice flavor, and I think it's pretty good. I don't think there's like any underrated champ or any other like flavor or any type of spread that really overtakes anyone specifically. I feel like the sandwich craft variety area is pretty even because you have like stuff like ranch, you have stuff like cheese that you could spread onto your sandwiches or whatever. Instead of like doing a peanut butter sandwich, you could do like a cheese with meat or something. So in terms of spread, I think it has its niche uses and such, but it's not like the best spread to use. And that is my peanut butter opinion, Lee. What specific direction were you aiming for this? Like,
no idea.
Okay.
I think Lee just throws a question out and he hopes that it hits us.
I mean,
when it comes to these kinds of questions, anyway. So, are we going to talk about peanut? I feel like when you talk about peanut butter, you have to talk about things that go well with peanut butter. Because peanut butter, obviously, I think it's interesting that William brings up flavors and that it's used for spread and stuff like that. And to be honest, whenever I think of peanut butter, the first thing I think of is that when my dog eats peanut butter, she chews for like 30 minutes because she can't get it out of her mouth. And it's really funny to watch. But peanut butter for me is personally best enjoyed on a sandwich with jelly or brown sugar. So I feel like peanut butter alone isn't actually all that strong. Like, you have to mix it with something like chocolate to make peanut butter chocolate, or cereal to make Reese's Cups or something like that.
Reese's Puffs.
That's Reese's Puffs. I'm talking about Reese's Cups, the candy, but that works too.
Significant difference.
But peanut butter, brown sugar, one of the weirdest combinations of foods I've ever eaten that I also really, really like. So I feel like it's just kind of what peanut butter is you got to make it weird to make it good.
All right.
What are your opinions? Do you think that peanut butter is all that, Lee? I'm gonna have to throw it back at you, man.
I don't think it's all that. I don't think it's the absolute monster of a multi-tool everyone likes to think it is.
Out of curiosity, if there is a monster, to be honest, I can't even remember the phrase you just said. If there is Yeah, you go ahead and repeat it.
Multi-food or a multi-tool.
Is there one that you could use? Is there one that you think exists that isn't peanut butter that would better fit that description?
Honestly, raspberries work with a lot.
Actually, yeah.
And I would argue a lot more than works with peanut butter.
I can't really argue with that. Because peanut butter is really strong, right?
Yeah.
That's the real issue, is that if you like peanut butter, you're going to like it on pretty much anything because you really like that strong taste. But when you get into, something that goes well with everything, you got to go for more subtle stuff.
Plus, like, raspberry, if anything, tastes a little sweet and jam. Like, I have raspberry jam for my sandwich every goddamn morning. And I'm like, yes, sweet jam.
Sweet jam. Yo, pump up the jams.
Sweet jam. Can I get some jam, sir?
Sweet jam, Shadow.
Shadow, you have to get the sweet jams.
I can't wait to hear how that comes across the podcast.
The sick jams, Shadow. Please.
Peanut butter ain't shit.
Space Colony Ark hasn't gone to Walmart in 10,000 years.
We're still under martial law by the government. The coronavirus.
The only thing that survived the 10,000 years is all the Twinkies, and they shouldn't be edible anyway. Please, Shadow, anything. Okay, I'm gonna kill my voice.
And that's when Shadow decided to destroy Black Doom because he realized that he didn't want to eat Twinkies for the rest of his life. The end. That's the ending number 376 of Shadow the Hedgehog, if you guys want to go check that one out.
All canon, by the way.
Oh, yeah, of course. So do we want to move on to another question?
I think I have to ask one of my questions.
Okay.
All right, so, dogs or cats? This is a fun, stayed up, neutral question.
I think this is a good question.
This is a nice question. This is some conflict that we get to have.
I hate both cats and dogs. Okay, so I want to really quickly point out that there is a computer game that my mom and my youngest sister used to be kind of obsessed with. It's a very old computer game. Like, it's a series of games, actually. They're called, like, Cats and Dogs. And, like, it's cats with a Z and dogs with a Z. And,
I thought...
What?
I thought you were going to go for Nintendogs, and I would have been very sad if you're like, oh yes, one of my old computer games.
Yes, back in the days of the Nintendo DS.
The portable Nintendo Computertron.
And I don't mean the Nintendo DS Lite, I mean the Nintendo DS, that heavy man.
I remember the big lad. He was huge. You could play Brain Age and develop muscles.
So, Dogs and Cats was this computer game that was actually, it was like Nintendogs with worse graphics and better gameplay, in my opinion. You know, in Nintendogs, you could do a limited number of things with your pets. You could, like, feed them, walk them, train them, all this stuff. But in Cats and Dogs, you had these pets that were like, it's kind of hard to describe. They were kind of 3D models, but they were generated on a 2D screen, and the various parts of them
pre-rendered.
I guess you could say that. The various parts of them sort of, it's weird. It did primitive graphics. Let me just say that. But you could, the fur was kind of interesting of the models because you could paint the dogs. Like, you could take a paintbrush and you could choose a color like blue, green, or pink or something, and you could paint a part of the dog, and they would, like, close their eyes or whatever while you did it, and then they'd be pink or what have you. So the graphics weren't bad; they were just primitive. The point is that they played dogs more than cats, and so early on, I decided that I would like dogs more. The end.
Really?
No.
Oh,
that game just left a huge impression on me in my childhood, and I'll probably never have an opportunity to talk about it again. So I figured now would be the best time. I've always owned dogs, and I've never owned cats, but I've always wanted to own cats, and I really like dogs. So I guess I have a slight bias towards dogs, but cats are cool too, and that's how I feel.
I am neutral towards both.
How do you
That
feel,
sounds
William?
about- Neutral response. Tell my wife I said hello. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and talk about my experience with cats and dogs. Well, I mean, when I was young, we used to breed a golden retriever and then sell the puppies, and that was back when we lived in Noblesville. But times have changed, and a lot of stuff has changed. I said changed twice. Let's do it again. Changed. Anyway, when we sold puppies there, we also had like 3 cats and like a few birds, so we had a lot of changing pets like in and out. It was pretty crazy. So we had Rose. Her name was Rosie, and she lived with us for like a long while. And then we moved out into several different houses in Noblesville, so we couldn't really keep Rosie that much more, or the 3 cats that also lived at our initial Noblesville house. So we basically just had birds for a long time, and then we didn't have another dog or any cats for long time. Like not even like last year is when we got another dog. That's how long it's been. So in my actual house that I live in, I haven't had like a dog for so long, but we recently got a Boston Terrier named Sky. So she's a small little doggo, and she jumps, and I let her sleep in my bed because she is small and doesn't take up much space. She's adorable. And then the other dogs I know of in my life are, like, my mom has a golden retriever, and he's named Doyle, and he's a big ol' happy bear that I like a lot, and I've seen him grow up, so he loves me. So there's that. So I have a lot of dog experience as of late, and I've been kind of really wanting to have a cat, because I just want, like, a small lion, my guy. Like, I want that prince. I want that royalty in my house. So I'm actually also very neutral, but I also really like the qualities of both cats and dogs. Like, dogs are very, like, loyal, happy-go-lucky, like, what the fuck's going on over there? I'm gonna bark at it, ah! Versus a cat that's like, what the fuck is going on over there? I'm gonna keep sitting and watch. So I admire both qualities of both dogs and cats.
So, Lee, how do you feel about dogs versus cats?
I just said I'm neutral.
We already asked him.
Can you expand upon that, though? Like,
No.
Why are you neutral?
I
All
just
right.
never really cared for either.
Do you have a favorite animal or an animal that you like a lot?
Foxes, that's about it. Most birds.
Most birds. But ostriches. You like ostriches?
No.
Oh, he did say most.
Why not ostriches?
Well, they
What
shove
do?
their heads in the ground, so, I mean,
Come on, man. They're freaking
flightless.
that too. So are penguins.
well,
Penguins are awesome.
And they're jerks.
Penguins are not jerks, so I stand by that.
Yeah, penguins aren't jerks, but ostriches are.
Our ostriches are jerks? Question mark. Not a single response.
Neutral response.
Neutral response. Tell my wife I said hello. All right. So, who wants to shoot it next?
I will ask a question.
Okay. What's your shot?
I don't have anything written down, so I'm gonna have to wing this.
Okay.
Okay. Let's talk about teachers. I guess if you guys could teach anything, like if you could start a class and become a teacher for a subject, it doesn't even have to necessarily be like a core subject. It could be something niche that you really care about, like video games or birds or something like that. Like it could be a subject of your choosing. What do you think you would teach?
Underwater basket weaving.
And why is that?
Fuck you, that's why.
All right, William. I have a feeling this is going to be a one-sided conversation.
Photoshop!
And why would you choose Photoshop?
Because you can tell them how to use gradient masks. Honestly, I've been trying to get out of Photoshop lately. and Adobe products, but I have a lot of experience in Photoshop, so I can teach them about masking, how to make stuff, what your pixel ratio should be, what you could use to make Discord emotes, or emotes in general. A lot of export functions and stuff, and PNGs and JPEGs, and then I could also eventually go into vector-based graphics. A lot of stuff that I just kind of learned over the years as a student that I could teach. Anything that's really production, honestly. How about you, Phil?
I'm not really sure. The easy options are like Rubik's Cubes and music. I can't really teach music though, because it's more of just an extremely passionate hobby I have. I could teach people how to like rock, I guess.
You could teach music history.
I could teach music history. That would be very fun. Maybe that. But also maybe Rubik's Cube history / how to solve, which I feel like goes hand in hand, because basically there's actually 4 main methods that people use that have been using for like the past 10, 15, 20 years or whatever to solve the Rubik's Cube. And most people only know of one because it's the fastest. But the others are pretty interesting, and I feel like if I had like 20 students and I sat them down and said, here's 4 different ways to solve a Rubik's Cube, and I was like, which one do you want to learn how to do? Most of them would obviously choose like an easy option or whatever, but maybe the easy option would actually be the unpopular option or something. Like maybe they'd also all choose a method that most people don't use. And also, I feel like Rubik's Cube history doesn't exist. Nobody teaches it because nobody cares. But I think I could make people care. I think I could make a narrative, and I could, show all these personalities and all these nerds. And I feel like I could really show people like what it all means, that there's a big picture. Like the invention of the Rubik's Cube was an accident, and there was a world championship in like 1986 or 87 or something like that in Budapest. And then for like 10 years or 15 years or something, nobody basically did anything. And then people started talking again, and then the Rubik's Cubing evolved from that. And now people can solve in 3 seconds. Like, it came so far, and again, a lot of people might not be able to care, but I feel like I could make them care. Like, I feel like I could give them reasons to be like, this guy was cool, and here's why. And they'd be like, what?
You just be the implement of the history of speed cubing.
I actually want to make a video about the history of cubing, and then I do want to make videos explaining why the history is important, like explaining the methods and stuff like that.
I could probably help out, actually. We just gotta get it. You just need to write yourself a script, honestly.
I would appreciate that. Well, the thing is, I need to record a lot of me, moving with the cube. I need to find a lot of footage because I will probably want it to look a certain way. We're going to need to make a lot of visuals. So it's a complicated project that I would passionately pursue.
Write a script. Go write yourself a script.
All right.
You got to write yourself a script and then make it sound as reality television as possible.
No.
No, you could do that. It'll make
reality
people,
television?
No. No. Just make it sound like a documentary.
That I can do. Documentaries are not reality television. Reality television sucks. Have you seen the Kardashians?
No.
Yeah.
I don't have the right to really judge.
No, that means you haven't seen reality TV.
Hey Lee, have you seen reality TV?
No.
Good to know. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So, here's another question I guess I'll throw out. Actually, Lee, do you have another question to chomp in here before I throw a ball out?
Yes, actually. If I can
Here we go.
Is Dark Side of the Moon really the best album of all time?
No. Next question. My favorite band is Pink Floyd, and Dark Side of the Moon is like probably like my 3rd or 4th favorite album. But if somebody said they hated it, I would understand why and move on with my life.
I don't know. On my end, it's basically just kind of a sense of taste. A lot of people have different backgrounds, so they're going to consider their perspectives first. Like, someone's going to probably think of a different rap album as the best album of all time versus someone that's, like, thinking of their favorite country album, which might be a compilation album, unfortunately, but That's projecting anyway. So it's just kind of a perspective question. I mean, my favorite's gonna be important to me, and someone else's favorite's gonna be important to them. So it is what it is.
I do want to say that Dark Side of the Moon will probably, like, it is, I think, the third most bought album of all time. And one of the reasons is not because it's a really good album, but because of the sound. People buy it and, well, have bought it. Like they would buy a Dark Side of the Moon record just to test their speaker setup. They would buy a Dark Side of the Moon CD just to test their speaker setup. It's a really good audiophile album. It's like the trademark audiophile album. You listen to it because it sounds really well. The production is so good for a number of reasons. And that probably won't change for a while. And I think that's why people give it so much merit. But it has its weaknesses. It's not the best album. And there's even some people that won't even like that sound that's supposedly perfect. So that's how I feel about it, I guess.
That's fair.
What are your opinions on Dark Side of the Moon, Lee?
Yeah.
I do enjoy Dark Side of the Moon.
All right.
Anyway. Let's see. This is another all question coming at you live. Philip, whose line is it anyway right now? Like, have you gone... I know which questions I've asked, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But, okay, did you ask yours before I did mine?
I don't have any questions, technically, so I'm just kind of spitballing, as you might recall.
Oh, yep,
I think I've asked two.
And I've asked the Spider's Vore question and the Dogs and Cat question. Okay, yeah, I'm allowed to throw another ball. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, how many states have you traveled, and what are your favorite locations?
Lee, do you want to go first? Because I feel like I haven't heard much travel from you. Or travel stories, anyway.
I've been to New York State. I've been to Vermont, like, twice. Maine, like, twice. Mass, like, twice. And Nashville.
Oh, shoot, because I was picturing these in my head. I'm like, oh, yeah, those are pretty close by state stuff. But, like, Nashville, like, ooh, what's the occasion?
School trip.
Ooh.
So, of all of those, did any of them stick out? Like, were they a really cool experience? Are any of them, like, your favorite or whatever?
I liked Nashville.
There's a bunch of
That's
country,
about it.
a lot of... Yeah.
Oh, it's not just country.
It's country-ish, though. Like, that, I feel like whenever you go to Nashville, like, that kind of... it's not like a stigma. I don't really know what to say.
Well, it's where, crap, I can't think of his name now. It's where the Johnny Cash Museum is. It's where Jeff Buckley walked into the Mississippi... I think it's the Mississippi. Might be wrong on that, but he walked into the river never to be seen again.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy crap, that's mystical. I didn't know that.
That's lore.
That is lore. I also didn't know the Johnny Cash Museum was in Nashville, otherwise we probably would have looked at it.
Yeah.
I mean, we also went to Nashville, and honestly, it was really cool, except for the part we almost got robbed, but hey.
We almost got robbed twice.
Yeah,
my brother Andrew is, he grew up in the hood, and so he is very defensive and paranoid about getting, pickpocketed and stuff. So there's this one guy that he approached us and, like, was talking. He was very charismatic, and that set off a red flag in my brother. So, like, we didn't talk to him very long. He just kind of was able to brush him off. It was nice. It was good. And then later we were standing at an intersection waiting for the light to change so we could, continue walking and just listen to all these artists and these pubs and stuff on this street play. And there's this guy who, according to my brother, was definitely going for one of our wallets, but he just said that he pretended to be really interested in a building that would allow him to keep looking at the guy so that way he couldn't pickpocket us. And as soon as we got out of sight of all these people, he was like, hey, you guys need to like not be stupid. And so from that point onward, we were paranoid as hell, and it definitely was a good thing.
Lee, did you have a thing? Because I heard you go off there before Philip went on.
I
about
don't
our...
remember.
I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
I will say Tennessee was kind of interesting, just in the sense of well, Nashville was very cool because we saw a lot of unfinished buildings, and it felt very like Chaos Town.
Yep.
Like the term "hole in the wall," I feel like you could have applied that term to so many of the buildings. Like some buildings literally had a hole in the wall, so you could like.
Why
see
not
them.
the entire city?
The entire city is a hole in the wall.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, I'm actually in the Wild West, and what I mean by that, I mean my stuff is gonna get stolen if I don't look at it quick.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
It's not the West though; it's the South. We got
the
ripped
Wild
off.
South.
The Wild South. I don't know what alliterative thing you could say for the South.
Okay, Philip. All right, Philip. What are your travel stuffs? I think I know some of these.
Yeah, because we traveled together. William and I and my brother have all traveled to going to tournaments, and we've I don't know. I've traveled with Andrew to New Jersey, so we passed through some states to get there. We went to Tennessee, and we went to some other places that I really can't remember off the top of my head. I know I've gone to Ohio. Just to go to Kings Island several times over the course of my life because I really like going there. And I've also gone to, we went to Tennessee, we went to Nashville for a tournament. We also went to Chicago for a school trip to the Chicago Art Institute, which is easily one of my favorite trips to anything ever in my life. Like being able to stand in a real museum, and I actually got to see pieces of art that like mattered. Like important pieces of art. I got to see them with my eyes. That was awesome.
You got to see the bean.
I not only did I get to see the bean, I got to, what is that a picture where the guys are in a bar and like somebody edited it to like put Mario and Luigi for like the Hotel Mario movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like you remember that? We saw that picture.
Yeah,
we actually got lectured about it in class. I can't remember what it's called.
It's either Night Stalkers or Night Crawl or something
that,
like that.
That sounds like a fucking Knight Rider, which is funny.
No, shut up. It's true. Night Watchers.
But
Watch.
That was awesome, but there was just so much art, and we were like, as students, we were like sponges, and we were just trying to look at everything.
What I remember from going on that trip is me wearing my pajamas underneath my cargo pants, and I was like wearing my Midna shirt as well with unkept hair as a high schooler, and I looked up and I was like, guys, art! And then my regular band and also drama kids that were in that class were just looking at me like, ugh.
I remember we played Smash for like 2 hours because it was like a 4-hour drive there, and we were like really early in the morning. And then my 3DS died because it had a really crappy battery. So then for 2 hours, I got sad and watched you play Smash. And then on the drive back, you let me play your 3DS, and I played Shantae for 4 hours. Shantae and the Pirate's Curse.
Oh, and you finally got to finish that.
Yep, and it was a very fun game. I want to buy a Half Genie Hero next.
Oh my god, I have it on my computer.
I mean, I'll probably just buy it on Switch, too.
Yeah, honestly. I kind of just got it. I'm really... I remember specifically on that road trip, though, is that whenever we play Ganondorf, we would, like, do the taunt where he'd pull us his sword and be like, let's celebrate.
Oh my god, I remember that. Yeah, we were like, raise your drinks.
Raise your drinks. Just because of, like, Thero and that edit. I'm really happy. That was a good time.
That was.
Alright, Philip, do you have any other travel stories?
I don't think so. And I think if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be Chicago just because of the visit to the museum. Although maybe where did we go for the Roger Waters concert? I can't remember.
We went
Ohio, right? It was Cincinnati or something like that. Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
So I guess since that's technically a travel story, the fact that in Ohio I went on a roller coaster ride and also the musical equivalent of a roller coaster ride is pretty cool.
Other than that, though, people built planes to escape that state. Moving on.
That's true.
All right. I guess it's my turn. So, in terms of freaking, in terms of traveling, most of my travel experience is very Okay, so when I was young, we had family that lived in both Florida and also family that lived in Colorado. I still do, but some of them have moved around a bit. So we traveled between Colorado, it's like really high mountainous area, and Florida's really hot beachy areas. So most of my favorite locations are based on like mountains and beach areas. I have like a lot of nostalgic fondness for those places because of their gorgeous beauty. Specifically, I forget what valley it was, if it was like Spring Valley or Lake Valley or whatever. Um, but I remember when I go to Colorado specifically, there was a lot of like, log cabins, a lot of like bars. There was a big old Grand Lake, and you could also go to the top of like one of the mountains to view the rest of the area. I just have like a lot of fond memories of Colorado specifically, and I really want to go back there, real bad. And then Florida is really cool just because if you ever get to go to a beach and just, do any of you have this phenomenon where you go out to the edge of your continent or whatever? I should stop.
Nope.
Nope. Really?
Never been
I mean,
there.
I'm basically on the edge of my continent.
Oh yeah, have you gone to like any of the beaches?
Yeah,
Is there
I've
any
been
beaches out
to
there?
the ocean like twice.
Isn't it kind of freaking like weird though? You just see blue, you see sand, and then nothing.
It's something.
It's such a like a quiet moment. You just look out into the grand blue, not the grand blue, the grand blue, the out like the endless ocean.
Yeah.
It's a very like calm moment. So that's when I'm those are like my specific really favorite stuff. In terms of traveling, I've been in states between Florida and Indiana. So like Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia. Let's see. I've been to Kansas. I lost my phone in Kansas. So Kansas is my most hateful state just because A, it's boring, and B, I lost my phone.
Good band though.
Pretty sure everyone hates Kansas.
Oh yeah. I mean, Lee, I don't know if you like Kansas as in the band, but I know Philip does, so I was about to say that's some conflicting opinions there.
Especially the band.
It's true. Everybody hates Kansas but me.
And also we've been to Pennsylvania and such, so we've been to Pennsylvania and then Virginia, but only momentarily as driving, so we like traveling here at the Libracadeum.
Do you want to talk about the Colorado playlist?
Oh man, I guess so. I mean, it's just a bunch of prog rock. A lot of people when they say I want to go to Colorado, I'm gonna ask this first. What do you two think when you think of Colorado?
I've never been.
What about you?
Denver, and that's it.
Okay, that's fair. I've worked a lot in the art school shit, so whenever I get to ask them, oh yeah, I want to go to Colorado, they're like, oh, you want to get some of that weed? I'm like, no, not really. I just like the mountains, and it's very pretty out there. So, back to the point. It's when I was thinking of going to Colorado, I made a prog rock playlist, and it's very funny because even though there's like a high influence of weed and cannabis into that type of music, or at least the scene, I still kind of avoid it. And it's till this day, it also comes into like my want to go to Colorado, so it's just kind of looming over my head. Anyway, that's my perspective of like the Colorado shit. Thank you for coming for my TED talk. All right. Whose ball is it? Who we throwing the ball at?
Throw it to me. I'm open. I'm
I'm gonna throw it. You better freaking catch this thing.
I got it. I got it. Everything's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. This is a simple one. I'm gonna hold the ball up for everybody to see, even though nobody can see me. Favorite video.
Where are you?
Don't even. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw the ball away.
Do you have the ball?
No, I don't have it. I lost it. I'm sorry. I lost the ball. But you know what? I had it, so I'm gonna talk.
Okay.
Favorite video game genre?
Genre?
Yeah.
Genre, you go first, Lee. I don't think about this too much.
It's either Metroidvanias or action RPGs.
Metroidvanias or what? You cut out.
Action RPGs.
Oh,
Oh,
and
yeah.
why
So
for
like
each?
Monster Hunter.
Like, why do you like those games so much?
Because they're good.
Every question with this man is the same.
Listen here, you wanted straight. We got the straight answers here, and that's why I let him go
To
first.
be fair, I
think.
usually only have about an hour of answering questions in me, and it's been about an hour of me answering questions.
Yeah, but half of
Yeah,
them
you
have
did-
been you saying, because fuck you, that's why.
No, that was one.
Well, that's
He
not
did
how it
one.
feels.
He's used the one voucher.
That's true. You still have your 2 lifelines, Lee. I just want you to know that.
What life?
You can phone a friend or you can do the shout out. I don't know. Okay, well, Lee stated his, and God forbid he explain himself. So, William, why don't you go ahead and tell us your favorite genres?
I like movement shooters. I just like games with movement. So a lot of times, I didn't want to say platformers specifically, because platformers are just kind of annoying when they don't know how to do their live system, because I am also impatient. So I like it when games let you have multiple restarts without any like lives or whatever, and you just kind of start right from where you died, so you can keep doing it until you're super good at the game. That stuff, and also the movement aspect. I like a lot of good movement, fun movement. The only Overwatch character that I liked playing super well, besides like Reinhardt, was Lucio, and it's only because of the good movement mechanics.
It was
they
because of
offered
the
him.
Jet Set Radio, let's be honest.
Shut up!
Called out.
There goes my speaker, it's on the floor. Anyway, I'm gonna keep doing this. So, I like good movement. So that means, yes, Jet Set Radio, but that also means, like, Team Fortress 2. And also, A Hat in Time was very fun. I like that one as well. Unfortunately, I'm pointing to video games and not specifically just genres, so I guess I should say 3D action platformer. Genres within themselves are kind of just tags that people would use to define the public, and I don't really like generalizations too much, so I'll leave it at
Says
that.
the guy who's like, I like Vaporwave, that's a really good genre. Or, whatever.
Oh,
Or like, when I'm
no.
like, Vaporwave's not music, you have to explain to me why it's a genre.
Hold on, pause. 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 Oh god. That's why. Okay. Alright. Neat. I found the reason why.
You okay, buddy?
Yeah, you remember when I said my speaker fell mid-podcast?
Yeah.
It unplugged my headphone for some reason. That's, gravity tends to do that. I'm good now, by the way.
Alright. Well, now William can hear me. I will explain to him that I really like, I don't know. Actually, it's kind of hard for me to define what I like. I've always liked puzzle games and adventure games.
He is the puzzle master.
Zelda is kind of, it's been one of my favorite genres. But as time has gone on, I've found other, game genres, I guess, that I really like. Like, I found that I really like 2D platformers and 3D platformers. Like, I like your Mega Mans and your Marios and such. But I feel like I don't know. I guess I would probably say something like, I'm a jack of all trades kind of guy, but if I had to pick, it would be like puzzle/adventure game, I guess. That's where I'm at in my element.
He likes Zelda.
I like Zelda.
He likes the Zelda.
I like Xenoblade. Xenoblade's an RPG. That doesn't, but it's an action, like an adventure RPG. Whatever. I like adventure games and I like puzzle games.
This is why I don't like genres. I don't like tags, but I like tags. See, it's a positive
I like
thing.
tags because if I didn't have them, I would not be able to figure out what kind of music I like. I just have to be like, hey, can you give me music where the songs are like 16 minutes? And they'd be like, sure. And it's 16 minutes of fucking nothing. And I'm like, I hate Frank Zappa so much. Like, that would be my life. But instead, I am like, hey, Genesis is a pretty good band. They made a 12-minute song. That's cool, I guess.
I saw the picture that you posted in our group DM with Andrew, and I'm like, oh my god, he put Genesis at the top, and I didn't want to say it, and I'm like, that's Philip, all right.
What? Oh, those are box sets. Like, so they don't fit.
Oh.
They don't fit in the case because they have a bunch of like CDs and memorabilia and stuff in them. There's also in the bottom left corner of the shot is a giant Pink Floyd box set that you probably didn't even notice.
Yeah, I thought you were just flexing, honestly.
Oh, well, I mean, it does look good. I wanted to show off the organization and like that I have no life and a lot of music, but I wasn't trying to be like, Genesis is the best band ever. Lols. Selling England by the Pound is the best album ever. Forget Dark Side of the Moon.
All right. Okay. All right, Lee. It is time.
Oh, yeah.
For another question.
Shoot.
Alright, this is probably my last one, I think.
Oh, man. Just reads the crumbled, like...
We here at the Libracadeum Lounge are very, very prepared for every question, every awkward silence that you hear in this recording, and absolutely prepared to entertain and bore the crap out of you for about half of this video. Thank you so much. Let me just a quick shout out. Thank you so much to anybody who made it this far, because it's like one person, and I love you, and I hope that you keep watching us.
Thank you, Squilliam.
Thanks, Squilliam.
Is cereal a soup?
Yeah.
If it has milk in it.
Well...
Because otherwise it's a salad, right?
I mean... Yeah, sure. You know
what?
what?
I got them, guys.
Oh my god.
Because you can make a salad with just lettuce.
Alright, next question.
Yeah.
That's just lettuce. Why not? At that point, you're just eating lettuce. Who calls it a salad?
Hey, here's a quick question. Would you ever eat cereal with a fork?
Yeah, I've done it before. There's like Cheerios, because they have holes, right? So you can just stab the holes.
That'll like break the Cheerios, though.
No,
well, no, what you do is
big.
you get like a... You just use the fork like a spoon, except you don't get any of the liquid. So what you have afterwards is cereal milk.
That's a good point. That's actually a pretty good idea.
And it's a bowl, right? So you just drink it from the bowl.
Yeah. Unless you're using a strainer. Which seems like the path we're going
you deserved for this. You deserved for this for milk to be all over your table. You deserved that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But don't cry over it.
Only cry over it.
No, don't cry over spilled milk. Over strained milk.
Well, is it spilled at that point?
Let's go to the tape.
Cut the episode here.
Cut the episode. We're only halfway through. Oh no.
No, we're about an hour in.
That's why I'm like, we're only halfway through.
This is supposed to be 2 hours?
Give or take, yeah.
That's why I'm like, oh no.
Well, would you like to have no guests for the next hour? Because I did not prepare for 2 hours of this.
Do you think like 5 minutes into an episode, like a famous actor is like, he like perfectly ends the episode, and then they're like, dude, we have 25 more minutes to air, and he's like, are you serious?
We could cut this one early at like 1:15 or 1:30. I'll be fine with that.
Or William and I could go on an hour-long tangent together where we talk about nonsense.
I mean, my recording is at... Oh, jeez. It's barely over an hour.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, listen, the only problem is that we would go on, but we'd have to like... Okay, well, we would have to save the files separately or some crap, and I don't like thinking about syncing all that up.
Well, no, you wouldn't have to.
I think at that point you would just kind of stop and like throw your file in there. I would like to just make it a separate episode if it's just me and Philip talking, though.
Yeah, sure. Because like I was saying earlier, I only got about an hour of questions and answering in me.
Yeah. I don't want to push you too hard. I was like, I noticed. I'm like, whatever. It's him. I didn't want to push you too hard. All right. Well, then we'll give a real doozy, Lee. What is your experience with music?
God damn it! I needed to prepare for that question if I was going to be asked that. Fuck.
This is the big one.
This is how we get the hour out of them.
This is the final boss question, Lee.
I started playing drums in 4th grade when they started offering band. I was mostly alright. And then around 7th grade, I got my first guitar and bass. And then in 8th grade, I stopped playing. Now I still play drums for concert band. I started playing bass for jazz band.
Ooh.
Oh.
And then it was the year after that when I developed tendonitis that I switched to bass and guitar full time for the band.
Oh.
And that's basically it.
By the way, hire this man. Hire this bassist.
Yeah.
Actually, is there any way I could like plug your work for musically?
Technically, no.
But if it ever comes up, I'll have to put it back in there. I'll just have to slap a patch on there on the episode.
Yeah.
Technically, no. And there's an annotation that just says yes in all capital letters and to link to, like, his platinum-selling album.
That's right. Lee made his debut on this really crap podcast episode.
Technically, I made my debut in an episode of Goons Play.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Depending on which comes out first.
Actually, the Goons. No, because you're the guy that said vagina.
Yeah, I was.
And William totally did not censor it. He totally did not.
He tried.
I tried. Shut up. That was a censor. There was a censor. It's just to cut it up. I know everyone knows what he's gonna say, so I just kind of split it up.
You could have censored the whole word.
Why not just censor like the split of it? That's the only part you need. It's just fighting the algorithm more than censoring the word, Phil. Cause fuck the algorithm. Which is why I'm like swearing right now anyway.
We're gonna get demonetized.
We're gonna get demonetized. Everyone gets demonetized in the future.
Supposedly people are getting demonetized for mentioning the coronavirus in their videos. That's what I've heard recently.
I know, isn't that great? I hate it so much. Let the people talk.
We need to let Lee talk because he didn't finish his story about his experience with music.
That's basically my story with music.
So, okay, I have some follow-up questions. Like, is jazz band rad? Because my sister played in jazz band, and she had a lot of fun. Well, all right then.
Depends on the instructor.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you have to let them follow up.
And depends on what you end up playing. And depends on whether or not you're a bassist who can learn stuff by ear and end up learning every other instrument's part.
Are you?
Yeah. I learned everything. We were doing 25 or 6 to 4, and everyone else somehow was struggling. And I learned every friggin' part.
Did you play a bass? Did you play the fish, but it was 25 or 6 to 4? Like every part was a bass part?
Yeah, the better question is, did you carry the freaking band?
No, because they didn't let me do that during the concert.
Oh. That's so sad.
That's so funny, though. It's like, I did everything, but they wouldn't let me do everything because of participation.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at that point, it wouldn't be a song. It would just be a really long bass solo. So, understandable.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Another follow-up question I have is, did your music tastes and your music, you listening to music, like, did that impact you playing your drums and your bass and guitar, and vice versa?
Well, yeah. I mean, I learned the stuff I was interested in learning, so like the songs I liked and stuff.
Oh yeah, that actually is a good question because that means I actually that's kind of a weird question for me to ask. When was talking with Norkix, whenever I would share my music with him, he would always give the perspective of a musician that actually gets to play and how he noticed things constructively, like in terms of composition. So after actually, playing instruments and such, whenever you hear music nowadays, do you ever see the construction of the
No,
song more?
not unless I'm looking for it.
Okay.
I avoid looking unless I want to learn it. I don't really look for it, so then I don't learn it.
Oh yeah. Is that like a thing of you don't really need to learn it so it doesn't take up space, or
Yeah,
is it just like you don't want to ruin the songs?
I mean, I'm sure when I was like 16, I definitely paid a lot of attention to that. Like it just kind of popped in my mind, but everything kind of just due to life events and such, my brain basically just stopped working.
TheMightyLeeOh.exe has stopped working.
Yeah, basically.
Basically.
Yeah.
So I don't really process things on that level anymore.
And
I mean, it is what it is.
did your like when you learn to play these musical instruments and you could like listen to music and understand it better, like from a composition or performance standpoint, I guess. Did it ever make any of these songs that you listen to better or worse? Like, did you enjoy them more or
No,
less?
not really.
Oh,
Okay. I just came up with a good question.
okay.
Okay. Lee, what is the best Monty Python skit of all time?
Spam.
You like his immediate answer?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, okay, I have a shit joke. I have a shit question. I'm like, it's like, all right, let's throw shit at the wall and see what happens. This will sound like fun.
Spam, spam, spam,
Spam,
spam, spam,
spam,
spam,
spam,
spam,
spam,
spam, spammity spam.
Everyone in the audience,
Spammity
join along.
spam. That or sit on
Spam,
my
spam,
face.
spam. What
That one's
about
pretty good too.
What about this is a dead parrot?
The Dead Parrot sketch is pretty good. I prefer the bookshop or the cheese
yeah.
shop.
Okay. But now we can't talk about Monty Python skits without mentioning the actual Holy Grail.
Meaning of Life and Life of Brian are better.
Yeah, I figured. I knew it. Lee has this thing.
Specifically, Life of Brian is way better.
I know. Here's the thing, audience. I know Lee. Lee is very contrarian. I'm like, I felt this in my blood that it would not be the Holy Grail.
No, I mean,
Okay.
if you had said Life of Brian is the best one, I would have been like, yeah, you're right.
Okay, but if I ask you, which is the best Weezer album?
Pinkerton.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. All right. Yeah.
And then they never made an album after that.
What about the Blue album?
That came before it.
Oh, I don't know their history.
I do.
I'm a plebeian.
William bought an Asia album and he thought it came out 8 years after it actually did, so he thought it was their last album. And I'm like, John went and recorded 3 more albums with Asia before he died, and he's like, they did? I'm like, yep. And Asia was once his favorite band. The end. It's funny to me.
This is the shooting the shit episode. It's time to shoot the shit. Are you ready to shoot the shit?
I think the shit has been shot.
I have a fun way
shots.
to shoot. You better shoot your shot, is what they would say on Tinder.
That's sexual. I don't like that.
Alright, so it is, in fact, an hour and 15 minutes in.
All right, Lee. We've tortured you enough.
So
Thanks
I'll
for
do
hanging out
my
with us,
plug. Follow me at TheMightyLeeOh on Twitch and Twitter. And Twitch and Twitter
and
Just
Twitch.
Basically, any website that starts with a T, search TheMightyLeeOh, and you'll be golden.
You might find me.
And I'll throw the links in the description
And
as well.
Remember, Canada may not be for. I screwed up that joke. Canada may not be for everyone, but I'm willing to give it a try.
All right, and if you're interested, be on Twitch and Twitter. I had a collab episode with him, so he will be on Goons Play episode 3. Unfortunately, I was very mean to him, and I felt bad about it.
It's okay. He gave me Coke.
I gave him Coke. All right. Well, yeah, I think we'll just cut this episode here.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to figure out if we want to have like another episode or like if we'll have Squilliam on next. Spoilers. Thank you everyone for joining. Libracadeum podcast is available for people. Libracadeum podcast is available because of people like you that come in and visit and say hi and check up what we're doing. If you like what we do, subscribe on Patreon so that I can pay like for my stuff and also these nice people that come here. Otherwise, they're just here on their own goodwill and happiness, and they're just fun people. Otherwise, thank you for joining in. Next time, might have a guest or we might not. I guess I'll see you guys Friday. Thank you.
Bye. Have a great time.
I've got blisters on my fingers.